Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Today we are going to look at compounding. So essentially what we are going to look at is how you can work out compound interest and how you can actually work out the future value. Because as we know, compound interest is comprised of the principal plus, future value is composed of compound interest plus the principal amount. Okay? Calculating future value, like I've alluded to, you obtain future value by compounding. That is by using the compounding formula. So here you're looking at the future value formula, like the one that you're going to use to compound. And then you come up with the future value. So essentially we're talking about the same thing. Now we're going to look at how you derive the formula. So we're going to look at an example. This is the example we're going to look at. And it says, let us assume that Lusaggio had 10,000 kwacha and decided to invest it all at an annual rate of 4.5%. Now we need to understand that we'll have to work out this to find the future value. And then in the process of working out, we are going to see just how the formula which I showed on the first page or the first panel comes about. I'll just emphasize on that so that even as you go through on your own, you'll be able to see just how it comes about. So this is the calculation. So to find the future value, we'll first of all have to find compound interest, which is done by multiplying 10,000 by the interest rate, which is 4.5%. And then we add the 10,000 kwacha to find the future value. Okay? So I'm sure you can easily follow the stages. This is well illustrated. Maybe all I need to do is just to comment on the part where we try to factorize. The future value is equal to 10,000 kwacha times, and we have the brackets, the square brackets, and we also have these other brackets. So you've got 1 times 0.045, then plus 1. Okay? Now, what I need to mention here is you need to understand that the 10,000 kwacha is outside the brackets because it is common, as you can see in the second step. Even in the first one, it's there. And then, what is 10,000 kwacha? The second step, that is, you have to put a 1 in times 0.5 as it is, because it's also being multiplied by 10,000 kwacha. Okay? So it's more like you've simplified this part. And plus, since there are these square brackets, then it means that even this side you're going to have a 1 because you're still multiplying by 10,000 kwacha. I'm sure it's clear. Then, of course, you do the multiplication, you get to 0.45, then plus 1. 10,000 kwacha is still outside. And then you multiply by all the terms in the brackets. So you're going to have 450 plus 10,000 kwacha. And then ultimately, you're going to get your 10,450 kwacha as a future value. Okay. Let's look at the second example. If 10,450 is reinvested for the second year at 4.5%, how much is going to be made at the end of the second year? So, we just follow the same procedure. You're going to get your 10,450 kwacha and multiply by the terms in the brackets. That is to say, you have the rate and then plus the 10,450 kwacha, which is represented by 1, just like we did it in the previous formula or in the previous work. And then we do the multiplication. We're going to have 470 quarter 25 in weight. That is when you multiply 10,450 by 0.045 plus 10,450, which once you add, you're going to have that result, which is 10,920, 25 in weight. Let's look at the index method. Now this is just the same method, except that in this case, you make use of the indices to work out the future value. You make use of the index formula, so to say. So for the example that we had at first, which involved 10,000 kwacha, we're going to say future value is equal to 10,000 kwacha times 1 plus 0.45 raised to the power 1 times 1 plus 0.45 raised to the power 1. Okay, so as you can see, the terms in the brackets are recurring. Okay, so it's more like you're just repeating this first year. Now since we've got two first years, all we need to do, according to the law of indices, when you're multiplying two indices, all you need to do is to add the indices. Okay, since the bases are the same. Okay, so you're going to have 10,000 quarter times, you get what is in the brackets, and then 1 plus 1. So it's going to be raised to the power 2. And then when you raise that to the power 2, you're going to have 1.092025. That, of course, has to be multiplied by 10,000, which gives you 10,920.25, just like in the first instance. So, from the previous work that we've had, the general formula can be written as FV is equal to PV. Then in brackets, you've got your 1 plus R. So PV, of course, when we go back to our example, we're talking about the 10,000 that we had. And then 1 plus R. R is the interest rate, which is 0.45. And N refers to the number of years, which is 2 years, in the previous example that we've looked at. So essentially, this is how you work out the future value using both the future value formula, why you don't use indices, and why you have to use the indices. I hope we've all followed this lesson. Now, let's look at multiple compounding. If you're talking about multiple compounding, that is in a year, so we are saying it's only 1 year and then you compound several times within that particular year. The formulas are different. So the rate is divided by 12, okay, if you are compounding annually, and then it has to be 12n, okay. So you divide the rate by 12, and then you multiply the n by 12, okay. If it's quarterly, then you have to divide by 4, then you multiply n by 4. If it's semi-annually, you divide by 2, then you multiply the index by 2. So that is how it is done. Now let's look at an example to illustrate what we are talking about. You decide to put 12,000 kwacha in a money market fund that pays interest at the annual rate of 8.4%, compounding it monthly. You need to take note of that. You put 12,000 kwacha in a money market fund, and it pays interest at the annual rate of 8.4%, compounding it monthly. Take note of that. It's being compounded monthly. You plan to take the money out after 1 year, so n is equal to 1, and pay the income tax on the interest n. You are in the 15% tax bracket. Find the total amount available to you after taxes. Okay, so this is the question that we're going to look at. So monthly interest is 8.4% divided by 12, because 8.4% is annual. So you have to divide by 12 because the compounding is monthly. So you're going to get your 0.7%, which is equivalent to 0.07. Okay. And the future value will be, you get your present value, which is 12,000, and then you multiply by 1.007. Of course, 1.007, because 1 plus 0.07 will give you 1.007. And that has to be multiplied by 12, because 12 by 1 year gives you 12. I hope we're following. Then the value we get when you do the calculations is 13,047 kwacha, or $47 rather, and 73 ngwe. Interest earned is, we get that total, then we subtract the principal, which is 12,000 kwacha, and it gives us $1,047.73. In tax, we are told is 15% of the interest earned. So we're going to say 0.15 times 1,047.73. $1,047.73. This gives us $157.16. Then after tax amount will be, we get the interest, we subtract the tax, so we get our $890.57, okay, which is $890.57. So that is what is left of what we get as our profit after the taxes are deducted. And the total amount available after tax, we simply get the principal, we add what is left after deducting the taxes, and we get $12,890.57. I hope you followed through this lecture, and I hope we've learned one or two things. I hope we're going to go through this in our own time, and we're going to understand what is involved perfectly well. See you next.